welcome to the 123rd episode of Retrotopia. My name is Brian, and if you can't tell, I am a little sick today, so my voice isn't 100%, but that's perfect because this game actually is about all the boogers and snots that's coming out of my face right now because we're talking Boogerman for the SNES. So very appropriate week to be sick and stuffed up. But if you're here for the game chat, head 25 minutes into the show and you should find it there. But before we begin, we got to get the plugs out of the way. So please, if you can rate this 5 stars wherever you get your podcast, it helps us grow. Also, if you want to find a link to anything I'm about to talk about, our social media, our merch store, our Patreon, our Discord, you can do so at linktree/Retrotopia. That's linktr.ee/Retrotopia. As I mentioned, also, we have a Patreon, which you can join for free. And with the free, you get to take part in polls, you get to chat with the hosts, you get to write in about the game of the week, write to the hosts of the 9-bit, in the 9-bit banter box. You get the extra show Quick Play, which is a short review series. And you get Retro Bites Neo with myself and Joe, roughly about 15 days early with an extra topic. We also have a hero tier, and if you join the hero tier for just $2 a month, you get everything I just mentioned, plus you get to select a game for the host to review on Quick Play. You also get another show called New Game Plus, and you get the After Dark, or pre-show banter that we just do to warm up before we talk. And you will also get a shout-out, which you can hear at the end of the episode, but if you are new, you'd get a shout-out at this point. Now, with that out of the way, it's time that we blow our noses and give you a chance to write into the host on what we call the 9-bit banter box, which is culturally elegant. First up, we have Fill Up My Mouth with Farts, and he says, "Hi Brian, I was wondering if you followed the Markiplier Iron Lung movie at all. Basically, Markiplier as a YouTuber funded, wrote, and directed and produced a movie based on the 2022 indie game of the same name, and without any movie distribution company, got it to over 4,000 theaters around the world solely on his name and people hounding their local theaters to show it. At one point, the movie was number one in the box office. At one point, the movie was number one in the box office proceed before it was mysteriously taken off the list. Does this open the door to normal creators getting movies out, and should Hollywood take note of this? Sorry for the long question, but it was good, although seriously trippy movie that left me quite unsettled by the end of it, and you should watch it. Yes, it is on my list of movies to watch. I have heard about it. Oddly enough, I heard about it because of that movie, Melania, or the First Lady's movie that came out. Apparently, this movie was sitting number 2 at the time, and people were trying to knock this into number 2 with that Millennia movie or some sort of weird thing. Long story short, yeah, I did look it up. It does look very interesting, very psychological thriller-ish type thing. And since Markiplier, I do believe, is a video game streamer, probably did this movie justice, because who would make a better video game movie than a video game player? You think so in theory, but yeah. Definitely one to check out. Definitely one when I have a chance to. I am going to check out, and I don't think I did come to local theaters, but I just tend not to go to movies that much anymore. So yeah, absolutely will check this out. I believe the movie just is him inside of some sort of submarine, and that's most of what goes on as he's trying to find stuff out. I don't want to ruin the plot. I actually read it. But yeah, check it out. Iron Lung by Markiplier. Support local, small indie studios, because A24 came out not too long ago. They're more indie based ones, and they had some really good movies, and I was enjoying them more than I was the big budget titles, because small movies like this tend to be written by people who have like great ideas instead of hedge funds that just want to suck in as much money as they can. So I always support indie everything. Smaller the studio, more excited I am for it. Thanks for the question. Next up, I have Unbuckled Cape. They said, Brian, you are the coach of a team in Capture the Flag World Finals for video game characters. In the championship match, you come across the unbeaten and 3-time champions Team Sonic, coached by Dr. Robotnik. His roster is made of 1. Sonic the Attacker, 2. Spyro the Attacker, and 3. Roadkill the Rat, who's another attacker, 4. Bomberman Bro, who is a defender, and Arbok, who is another defender. Pick your 5 players, their positions, only 1 character per franchise. You've really limited me on that. I could have just made myself an entire Chrono Trigger, just for you, because you always bitch at me when I talk about Chrono Trigger. So number 1 is Chrono from Chrono Trigger, because he has a lot of attack power. He'll be the captain of the team. He's going to sit there and be the center of the capture the flag, because you get close to him, boom, Luminaire. He just blows everything up. Number 2, we're going to take Mario, because who can get in Sonic's head better than Mario? Also, I need somebody who's like a fat person representing me on the team. I'm going to coach my own team, by the way. Number 3, who I need another attacker. I don't know who Roadkill the Rat is, so... I know. I'm going to have Leonardo from Super Nintendo's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, number 4. Because who can kill a rat like a Ninja Turtle? And then against Spyro, we got Chrono, Mario, Spyro the Dragon. I need a Dragon Slayer. Your character from Skyrim, whoever you are the Dragonborn. That is who's going to take against Spyro, because Spyro's a dragon, and you need a Dragonborn to take him out. There you go. Mario, Chrono, Dragonborn, and Leonardo. So I need one more. You have Arbok and Boomerang Bros. So I already got the Mario character. Arbok, I need another Pokemon. Let's see, what's another good Pokemon to take out Arbok? Hold on a second. I'm going to go get Agumon from Digimon, because, let's be honest, Digimon is a lot better than Pokemon, even though it didn't become as popular. It just had a better concept, because, they were fighting with their digital, thingies, Digimon, I suppose, as opposed to, basically just dog fighting rings. So that's my 5 characters. I hope that didn't satisfy you, because, honestly, you shit on me too much for Chrono Trigger. Next up, we got Brother Retro says, "Alright, Brian, let's talk boogers. You are a proper tissue hanky fellow? Do they pile up under your driver's seat and create a booger-based stalactite mucus cavern?" No hard words. "Do you consume them like a true gentleman? Are you now Brian the booger-eating bimbo? Let's hear it. How do you pick and flick, my good man?" Alright. If I got solid bats hanging in the cave, I will pick them out and I will flick them. If I'm in the car, I'll roll down the window and I will just flick them onto the highway. So my DNA's everywhere. I'm not a big Kleenex person. I am a nasal decongestant type of person. So, I have like pills, and sprays, and injections and shit like that. But no, it's, I don't know. I'm not really much of a huge nose picker. Sometimes I'll rearrange things inside there and just sniff it all in, but not really a picker and an eater, so not since I was a kid anyways. So I don't really have a big answer to that, and I'm not a hanky fellow. Oh god, people who can reuse the same tissue there, just bleh. Like the old ladies when they pull it out of their sleeve. That one's too much for me. Thanks for the question. I'm just going to move on. Next up, we have Hooli the Third, and as you can tell, my voice is getting worse and worse, so I might have to speed this up a little bit. He says, "Brian, you sexy whore." Why, thank you. Definitely sexy with his voice. What is your favorite yard game for the summer while drinking? Mine is Can Jam. It's the best. Mine is going to be, what's it called? Ladders? Where you have 2 balls that are attached by a string, and you throw it at this ladder, and you got to wrap the ball around, and you get points depending on which tier you get on. So I've never heard of Can Jam before as the name, but when I looked it up here, I paused for a second. Can Jam, I have seen. It's just a frisbee game where you throw a frisbee at a can. It has a little hole in the side, and you get different points depending on how you ding the can. That just sounds boring. Mostly my favorite game is sitting down and drinking. It's like that first Family Guy episode, so you can drink the beer the fastest. Don, what did I win? Another beer. That's my jam. Alright, Turtles Loves Pizza says, "As a former lurker and now new follower, when can the community expect a Brave Fencer Musashi episode? Not having that episode with you and Adam and RTG stung a little. I'm eager to know your opinion on the dancing boss. Thanks for helping create another wonderful community." Well, first off, I'd have to do another playthrough. I think I actually have one of the earliest podcast attempts I ever did was Brave Fence and Musashi just after I finished it. And yes, on Remember the Game, I had won a opportunity to join Adam as a guest host, and the game I picked was Brave Fence and Musashi, but he couldn't get a copy or find any ROMs that would work, so we had to shift over to, what was it? Dark Cloud. We had to shift to Dark Cloud, and he hated that game, and I got to sit there, and he just tore it apart, and it was just like, wow. Yeah. Anyways, I do want to do Brave Fence and Musashi, but I do need to do another playthrough, both because I want to, and because it's been long enough that the dancing boss isn't coming back to my brain, and might be just because my brain is full of viruses and stuff, and I don't know. Anyways, yeah, there will be a Brave Fence and Musashi episode one day somewhere. I'm still poking at Adam from Remember the Game to do a talk about it, and I think he's amicable to it, as long as he can get it to work. So hopefully you get what you want, hopefully I get what I want, and then we come together and we just dance. Thank you. Next up we have Shane's World. He says, "Hi Brian, are you a fan of anime? If so, what are you currently watching?" Well, I am a fan of anime, but I'm not like one of those uber fans. Like, I'm not Super Dave of the anime field guide. I watch anime casually, and I watch the ones that a lot of people think are just generic, like Naruto, One Punch Man, One Piece. That time I got reincarnated as a slime. I adore that one. Boruto, because, you know, I still want more Naruto, but even though that one's falling flat. Fairy Tail, stuff like that. The shonen, I think they're called. I tend to focus more on those. We do have Crunchyroll in this house. My wife is the anime watcher mostly. I'm just the anime, ish type fan. So she watches pretty much everything, and every so often I'll go on there, find a series, and just binge it and then move on. So that's about the extent of my anime watching. Next up, we have Jam Sandwich Yoshi 94 says, "What the heck happened to the tree in the choose one, lose one picture?" If you're on the Patreon, you'll notice that when I put the choose one, lose one graphics, I take a scene from the game, and this week's game is Boogerman, and in the first level, there are these trees with these absolutely creepy smiles. I believe we bring it up in the episode, but yeah, I don't know what the design choice was to have trees that just have the shit-eating grin on their face that's like way too happy for where they are, and they're covered in snot and stuff like that. So I have no idea. Just don't stare directly in its eyes. Next we have The Big Deal. It says, "Would you guys ever consider doing an episode on Super Mario Maker? I think it would be an interesting discussion, getting everyone's input from a fanboy's perspective, mixed with your thoughts as an inspiring game developer. I can't imagine you haven't spent some time with that game as a Mario fan, but it's something you have or should revisit now that you understand a little more about what goes on to making a good video game." Well, first off, I'm still learning what goes on to making a video game, let alone a good one. I will say one thing about this college course. I don't feel like it's really pushing me to get to the next level. A lot of the instructors, we're halfway through the second semester, and it's starting to feel like they're phoning in their lessons there, and we have one instructor who just talks at us, and we still don't know how to use the program that he mentioned, so it's a lot of YouTube videos just to keep up. Other than that, a lot of it's creativity, and I'm still struggling with that one. So thanks for the compliment, but yeah, we will get to an episode of Super Mario Maker someday. I do believe that was a fantastic game. I remember having it on the Wii U there. You had the screen pad there, and you would just use that to build your level. My big thing was always making the 10-second level. Like, you had to get there, and you only had like 0.1 second to get to the flag. Any mistakes literally meant that you would you'd fail the level. So anyways, yeah, just to let everybody know, if you hear cuts in the audio, that's me pausing to cough something up. Back to your question, but yeah, 10-second levels are my jam. The reason I fell off of it is because all the top levels in there are just people like, don't touch the controller, and then it does everything for you, and it's like, that's not entertaining. Congratulations on making nothing. Or the levels that are so impossible that you have to have skills that I just don't have. So that's what made me fall off it. I do have Mario Maker 2 on the Switch, so I might pop that back on. I think I have Mario Maker on the 3DS. Don't quote me, but yeah, we'll talk about it. It's definitely going to be on the list. And finally, we have Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, who says, what websites are you using to follow the gaming news? Well, let me open up my current browser. I have an entire folder on my bookmarks for it. First off, I go to Google News and video games and latest, because that kind of gives you a little bit of everything. It's a great way to start out. You don't have to think about any particular websites, and if you find a website you really like, or website, I guess I was going to say magazine, but yeah, you find a website you really like, then you can just bookmark that. Outside of that, Video Game Chronicles, it tends to be number one. I used to go to Kotatsu all the time, but they just turned me off now. I don't remember what the controversy was, but they did something that just made me not want to go there. Then I got the Game Rant. That'd be the number 2 one I go to all the time. Then the Gamer. GameIndustry.biz is good if you're looking more for the business side of stuff and less about the actual games. I have a website called Time Extension, which talks about retro video gaming, but it mostly it's mostly like Evercade and stuff like that. So there is definitely plenty on there. I don't go to that one as much. And then, of course, you have your standard IGNs, your Nintendo Life, Pure Xbox, Push Square, GameSpot, Destructoid, all those ones. Or you go to Metacritic and they have a news section. So, recap that just so you don't have to rewind. Video Game Chronicles would be number 1. Game Rant would be number 2. GameIndustry.biz would be number 3. And then just Google News, video games for everything else. Hopefully that's a good answer. All right, thanks everybody for writing in. Always appreciate the questions. Sorry if it felt a little bit phoned in this week. I am trying my best, but I have been kind of fading into this nothingness in the middle of a thought there, and it's fun trying to keep focused while at the same time trying not to cough into the microphone. All right. But with that, we still got stuff to do, so let's move on to Choose One, Lose One.
Ladies and gentlemen, roll up and choose your power-up from the game of the week. You pick a power, we pick a consequence. It's Choose One, Lose One, the game where everyone's a loser.
Alright, choose one, lose one for Boogerman. This is going to be gross. So first up we have Old Man Gamer says, I want the ability to fart and pick my nose and flick my boogers. Wait, I already do them things, never mind. Well, you do have the ability to fart and pick your nose and flick your boogers, but unfortunately it is one of those tics that you get like when you have Tourette's and you can't help but like just saying random swear words. I know I'm underselling what Tourette's is, but I'm just trying to explain the idea. Anyways, long story short is you're in the middle of a big meeting there with the client and you're picking your nose and you're flicking the boogers on them and you're farting everywhere. You're getting intimate with a lady, fart. You had a big bar mitzvah there with a whole bunch of people around, fart. You had the quinceañera, you fart. Everywhere you are, you just always fart. And it's always the nervous farts, the ones that really dig into your colon there and grab that stench and it just blasts. So that is your punishment. Unbuckle Cape says, never played the game, but I'll take a stab at this. Can I go to sleep without being congested ever again? No. You and me are going to live this life the rest of our days. We will constantly lay down and all that mucus is going to coat inside of our nose and we're just going to do the honky sleep snore. So that is, I'm joining you on this punishment because that is our lives. Fill up my mouth with farts says, I want farting and belching and nose picking to be considered the highest of high society actions. It is, but you sir, are dry. You can't burp, you can't fart, all your gases quietly expel from your skin pores. It's just absorbed into your body and it expels. And you're considered low class because you're sitting there all polite and stuff. So way to be. Next up, we got Brother Retro says, I want to be able to use my boogers and mucus as a violent weapon to ward off foes. Well, you can, because your mucus and boogers are now so full of viruses and COVID and AIDS and all those bad stuff that is considered biological warfare. If you use them to flick at anybody, you are currently in the gulag because you are considered the world's most dangerous person. They won't even give you a TV, and definitely no video games. Mr. Blobbertson says, I want to be able to achieve flight with my own internal gases after consuming a chili pepper. Sure, you can, but you're allergic to chili peppers now, so you have to decide, do you want to fly for free or do you want to fly Spirit Air? Personally, I'd still take the chili pepper. King Hooli III says, can I just be a booger? I would probably have more to add to society that way. Well, don't say that about yourself, buddy. You have a lot to add to society. We need people like you out there doing whatever you do, and generic statement, and go team USA, USA, all that good stuff. But no, yes, you can be a booger, sorry. Yeah, you can be a booger, and everybody likes to pick and flick you. So that's your life now, is you're just flying across the country, flick style. Oh, there's that cough. And finally, we have Jam Sandwich Yoshi 94 who says, I want a frog or to play Bomberman. You choose. Don't kill my frog. I can let you play Bomberman, but when you do, you're so distracted, your frog tries to jump into traffic, but keeps dodging cars for a while. You know what I'm talking about. He's the frog from Frogger there, and every so often he gets splattered. But he comes back because you still had credits left over. Alright, so that's everything from Choose One, Lose One. Again, I am still struggling here. I have a little bit left to go. Thank you very much. I'm going to take a little bit of a break now and let Alan take over the microphone, as he's going to give us the Gentleman's Interlude.
Citizens, gather round and steel your stomachs, for I bring you the heroic tale of the one, the only Boogerman. I was once mild-mannered billionaire Snotty Ragsdale, philanthropist, inventor, and connoisseur of fine nasal excavation. But when the villainous Boogermeister tore open a portal to Dimension X-Crement, unleashing a tidal wave of toxic trash upon the innocent, I did what any upstanding hero would do. I leapt into the swirling vortex of slime and emerged reborn as the caped crusader of crud. My glorious adventure first splattered onto the Sega Genesis in November 1994. Courtesy of the brave and slightly disturbed minds at Interplay Productions. The following year, in 1995, my magnificent mucal mission continued on the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Decades later, a new generation felt the funk when I re-emerged on the Wii Virtual Console in 2008. Evil may fester, but Boogerman always returns. In my debut masterpiece, Boogerman, a pick-and-flick adventure, I soar, well, more like hop heroically, through perilous 2D side-scrolling landscapes of sludge and slime. From the bubbling bogs of the flatulent swamps to the perilous peaks of the mucus mountains, I battled grotesque goons with the most powerful weapons known to humankind: precision-launched boogers, thunderous burps, and seismic flatulence. Yes, my methods may wrinkle noses, but justice is not always fragrant. The masterminds at Interplay crafted a world bursting with cartoon chaos, vibrant sprites, elastic animations, and music that thunders like a heroic fanfare echoing through a septic tank. Beneath the outrageous humor lies a surprisingly solid platforming challenge, complete with hidden plunges for health, secret areas, and boss battles against titans of trash. Critics called me juvenile. I called it fearless commitment to theme. So remember, citizens, when the world is drowning in filth and foulness, when villains rise from the refuse of society, there is but one champion who will answer the call. A hero in green tights, a legend of lint, a warrior of waste. I am Boogerman, and justice has never smelled so powerful.
Thanks, Alan, as always, and we are just going to get to the end of this now as I have to sit here and deal with all the boogies coming out of my nose. Alright, so before we get into the game, we always like to give you a chance to weigh in on your thoughts about the game, and we got some great ones this week. We start with Tadpole, who says, this game holds a soft spot in my childhood. Excited to hear your thoughts on this pick and flick adventure. More beans. Well, you're going to have to wait and see if we met your expectations or let you down. Next up, we have Fill Up My Mouth with Farts. Says, this is one of those games where you saw the ads for it in the old Archie comics. You ask your parents to buy it for you, and of course, with a name like Boogerman, they say no, which is the extent of my experience with this game. I remember those Archie comics so much, and I remember seeing the ad for Boogerman everywhere, and I remember seeing the game on the shelf at the rental place, and yeah, I don't think I was just interested in it, because I don't know, Boogerman never seemed like one of those games that was going to be of high quality. But it is what it is. We got into it finally 20 some odd years later, maybe even 30 some odd. And next up we have Brother Retro says, I am so happy you guys are bringing this one to the table. I grew up playing the SNES version, so I'm interested to hear a take on the Megasys version if one of you took a look, or one of you took that route. Nothing left to say except let's pick and flick this episode straight to my ear holes. Yes, sir. Mr. Blobbertson says, what's the worst power-up in the game? Why is it milk? Oh, God, milk adds mucus to your character, and yeah, very fitting, very fitting. I do get mucusy if I drink too much milk. King Hooli III says, Boogerman, I guess I'll pick my nose because I have nothing else to add. Well done, buddy. And, of course, we have Shane's World, who carries that on, says, never played this. Give it a shot. Why not? It's free if you get a ROM. And the Big Deal says, I feel like I'm just letting my powers go to waste. Instead, I'd like my gross bodily functions to somehow better mankind. Use my gas for greater good. I feel like I did that thing again where I accidentally put a choose one, lose one in the game comments. I have no idea, but yeah. I'm just going to leave it there. I'm just going to own my mistake if it is a mistake. If it's not, great comment, because with a little bit of music, we're going to get into the game chat now. So if you held out this long, thank you very much. And we're talking Boogerman, developed by Interplay Productions, published by Interplay Productions, released on the Megasys in November 94, and later on the SNES in December 95. Thank you very much for listening, and we hope you enjoy the show. Alright, it is time to get into the discussion. We've just listened to another beautiful intro by yours truly, and of course, joining me is my picker and my flicker. It's Sam and Alan. How are you guys?
That sounds filthy.
Who's the picker? Who's the flicker?
You guys get to pick.
Actually, I don't want to know.
Or flick.
I don't want to know. Sam, how are you, buddy? You start.
Yeah, I'm doing all right. You know what? We didn't make it very far without talking about something disgusting, but it's kind of hard not to in this case.
Yeah, this is going to be kind of a weird conversation and almost a hypocritical conversation, because anything we say negative about this game is just kind of like, who is it coming from? It's like so hypocritical. It's the only word I'm going to use to describe it.
Are you suggesting, dear Brian, that this podcast is not the height of sophistication?
Well, I do say it is, old chap.
Oh, yeah, in which case I don't know what you're talking about. See, we are the haughtiest of individuals, and I can't even pretend. Like, I've still got this fucking cold, and I think it's on the way out, but it's very appropriate that we're talking about Boogerman of all things, while I myself am riddled with boogers. So I feel like
it's funny because
I'm method acting.
Just before we recorded, I ran off to go use a nasal spray because my nose is clogging up from boogers.
All you guys, huh?
There you
Sam?
go.
Man. What side of the pronunciation debate do you land on? Alan, do you say bogies at all, like in Harry Potter, like boogers, like I've heard?
I go boogies.
Boogies?
Booger is not really a thing over here.
Yeah.
It's bogies.
Bogies, yeah.
Always bogies. So it does feel somewhat unnatural to say Boogerman. But I don't. But Bogeyman is kind of a thing anyway, isn't it? It's like the Bogeyman.
That's a boogeyman.
Boogeyman. Yeah.
Ah, yeah. See, okay.
Off to a great start.
Off to a great start.
We'll pronounce it the way we want to, but let's pronounce our history with the game. That's the word I'm looking for. What is our history with the game, Alan? Did you ever play this game before? And did you play it on the Genesis or the Super Nintendo?
I played it on neither, Brian, just so I can be really fucking difficult.
Pretentious.
Yes, I played it on my Evercade XP because I got it on
I forgot.
Yeah, I got it on an Interplay collection. And to be honest with you, I'm still not entirely sure what version I played, which is really helpful because for all intents and purposes, it was marketed as the Megasys version, but in subsequent sort of investigation, I think everyone's kind of landed on the idea that it is the SNES version. So who the fuck even knows? And does it even matter?
I don't know that there's a difference.
I'm still trying to figure out if there's a difference. Yeah, because I looked online and it said, yes, the levels are different, but I look at pictures of the Megasys version and it looks the same to me. I don't know.
Well, maybe we'll figure it out as we go along. Maybe this episode will make no sense whatsoever. But no, I never actually played this back in the day, although you had to be aware of it. It was just one of those like curiosity pieces that you'd see
rental
in magazines. Fodder.
Well,
I used to collect like Sega magazines and shit like that, and you would see it advertised, and it's just like that is so quintessentially 90s, isn't it? This game, it kind of feels like, if I may go a bit meta, it kind of feels like the sort of game you'd have covered back in the early days of Retrotopia, back with like the Cabbage Patch Kids and shit like that.
I think this was brought up a couple of times. I've been kind of avoiding it because I've never had interest in it. But Sam, you and your interests, your history with it, I think you have more more history than I do.
This is one that I definitely rented quite a few times as a kid. I don't know if I ever got that far in it because when you come down to it, it's really not that interesting of a game. It's very it's not, the platforming itself is not all that challenging. The boss fights can be. There's one that I can't get past, but that's more because I just got sick of trying. But yeah, I don't think I ever got that far at any. The levels are actually pretty long for what they are. So I don't.
Some of them are short as shit.
Yeah, and then some are super long, and so I don't think I ever got that far.
Yeah.
There's a password system that's really nice. I mean, if I had this game in my collection, I would have likely gotten pretty deep into it. But this is the
fact that they didn't release a green cartridge is kind of a slap in the face.
That would have been awesome.
Oh, that would have been, yeah.
But yeah,
or a brown cartridge, if you know what I mean. How like?
Now, where the hell were you back in the day, Brian, making all of these?
Yeah, no kidding.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, no, I didn't get. I never got that far in it. This is the first time I actually played like a significant chunk of it. I'd always just been like, oh, I remember that game, but and I'd been kind of pushing to cover it because it's just kind of it's an oddity, right?
And finally, you got Alan on board, and I got outvoted.
Yeah,
I remember you bringing this up in the early days, and I just every time I look at it, I'm just like, no, this is just. such a gimmick that I know the core gameplay is just going to be either repetitive or just very flat. And we'll get into it, so I'm not going to pop my thoughts out too quick here. But yeah,
I think you've summed it up magnificently.
Yeah. I played it. I played through it. I do have some nice things to say about it, though, but I don't think it's going to make my top 10 games of all time.
Right.
Yeah. But I'm gonna just get into the story here real quick, and then we'll continue the conversation, just so everybody knows how deep and involved that the writers of the same company that made Earthworm Jim put into this story. So the story basically goes on a dark and stormy night. You have Professor Stinkbomb, who works in a lab above a place called Takey Dump. He's secretly developing a machine called the Zap-O-Matic, which is the purpose of eliminating pollution by transporting it to a realm called Dimension X-Crement. Now, you play the role of an eccentric millionaire, Snotty Ragsdale, who visits the lab, infiltrates it by getting a job as a janitor because he believes that the little chip that makes this all happen is a danger in the wrong hands. Now, he fucks up and breaks the chip, and he gets, something comes out and grabs said chip and brings it into this Dimension Excrement. So, turns out, Snotty Ragsdale's secret identity is Boogerman. And he runs into the closet, and he comes out, and he has changed into his Boogerman outfit, which is basically, a green tights, red cape, and holes in his socks. And he jumps into Dimension Excrement to go find what is called Snotrium 357. And that's where the game starts, and that is the level of the story of this game.
It's perfect.
So
I don't
much bullshit.
I don't even know how to describe it. Like, what I was looking at the metadata for this, or like the tombstone data, and it's like, this is Interplay. I'm like, why do I know Interplay? I've seen that logo before. And first game that popped up when I looked it up was fucking Earthworm Jim. A classic. And this game is made by the same people who made Earthworm Jim, and it is not.
Well, it's got that Earthworm Jim, like, 90s cartoon gross out humor DNA. Like, this could have been like on the edgier side of something you'd see on Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network at the time.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you guys. Like, this came out in 1995. Was that not the era of the gross out culture?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
like
100%.
Garbage Pail Kids, the stuff Sam mentioned. Do you ever hear of a show called You Can't Do That on TV?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Okay, that must have been over in our area where you say I don't know, and they dump the ooze on you.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, we had plenty of shows where ooze was a thing. Sure.
Well, this one was just kind of a popular show around here. The kids loved it. I'll send you a clip. You'll love it too. Anyway, so yeah, it's just, this was the time of the gross out culture, and just feels like a game that was trying to jump in on the trend, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah, and you know what? I hadn't actually considered that. It is. Yeah, you're right. It is the same team as Earthworm Jim, and it kind of it feels like the offcuts of Earthworm Jim. It's just because I love Earthworm Jim. I have an episode of it, quick play somewhere in the archives, and it is a fantastic game. And it does have all of that gross out humor and everything, and it just looks magnificent. And this kind of feels like a poor man's version of Earthworm Jim, and just not as good, which is weird because you'd think it would be comparable, but it's really not.
Yeah, with the experience they had with Earthworm Jim, like they could have used a lot of the same mechanics Earthworm Jim had, like use the snot as like Earthworm Jim's head, where you could use it as a whip to swing across stuff, but it just went for the gross out. You flick boogers, you fart, you burp. It just, I know, like, I know I said we're going to be hypocritical because, we just do fart and burp jokes all the time, but we didn't do it professionally.
I mean, Earthworm Jim has more clever mechanics than this game. I think if you put them side by side, Earthworm Jim is, thank you for your service, Alan, because I would not have wanted to play Earthworm Jim to the point where we would talk about it on the show, because I'm not good at that game. It is a very challenging game.
Oh yeah, no.
It's brutal.
But it has like more unique gameplay elements than Boogerman does, like with shooting the little pistol and using the worm as a whip and that kind of stuff. Like there's all kinds of goofy mechanics built into that game. This is kind of, yeah, like Brian said, I don't know, I guess a more run-of-the-mill platformer version of something like an Earthworm Jim.
Yeah, it kind of feels like they had the idea of just, well, we want to make a game that is as gross as possible. So we're talking bogeys, we're talking farts, we're talking all of that kind of stuff. That's going to be the main gameplay loop. We'll figure out the rest later. You know, it's just like they just set out to make the grossest game that they could think of, and that was more important than anything else, I think.
And that's, I don't know, like, I kind of wonder if they have some sort of underlining theme that they're trying to go for, because the whole concept is you're in a world where we're dumping our pollution, our trash into, so the only thing you really find in there is a whole shit ton of boogers, and then you go through like a poop level, which I'm pretty sure it's a poop level because there's a lot of brown in that one.
Yeah, there's some gross, just like nasty looking stuff in the background. But then also like every level has a quote unquote secret area that is, you know, you flush yourself down the toilet and there's like extra items and stuff down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, oh God. So, I mean, we're on levels right now. Let's talk about the levels. I mean, I will say one thing about this game, and this is the positive point I was talking about. The animation of Boogerman himself, they got a lot of good animations on him. Like, this studio really did know how to create, like, characters that moved really, really well, and very cartoony-like, so throughout the level, when you go down the toilets and stuff like that, or when you start a level, or you're jumping, or you're flipping, you're flying, you're flopping all over the place, or you're flicking your boogers, like, it's good animation. But the levels themselves are so boring. Honestly, it's the same gameplay loop. You're either zigzagging all the way to the top, or you're zigzagging from the top down to the bottom, hitting a few toilets to go to the sewers on the way.
I will say one thing about the levels. Yes, they do get repetitive. I mean, at least graphically, they're good to look at. Like I mean, obviously they repeat assets and stuff. So it's, you know, you can only see the same combination of shit, literally, you know, so many times before you're like, all right, this is kind of boring. But if I could say one thing, I think maybe there's not enough interesting going on. So they kind of pad it out by having long levels. There's like, I think the first section before you get to the first boss is like 4 levels long, and they're actually fairly long levels. And it just is like, by the time you get to the 3rd or 4th one, you're like, all right. And the game can be challenging until you get kind of the feel of how Boogerman moves and what you can do to defeat the enemies that are around. So once you kind of figure that out and you just kind of take your time through it, you know, it's like, it's really not that difficult either. So it's like, all right, it's kind of boring. It doesn't really present much of a challenge if you're playing it carefully. And so then it's just kind of a lot of bland.
Yeah.
Yeah, like none of the enemies that come at you in this game come at you with intent. They follow a certain pattern, and once you realize what that pattern is, you get hit mostly accidentally. And I found, like, more often than not, I got hit because of bullshit mechanics or physics, because you would try to jump on the branch of a tree, and you'd float right through it, even though the next time you try to jump and you land in the same spot, you land on top of the tree. It's like very, very floaty, very unfair when you are on a higher cliff and you're jumping and you're trying to jump to a branch and you make it 1 out of every 5 times. It just fucking annoys me.
Yeah,
I was gonna say floaty. That is the general and overall feel I had while playing this game. And I mean, to go back to your point about the animation, I do think that this game is very well animated and all the character movements. I mean, it is very, very cartoony, and it does look like a cartoon. I like the way that everything moves in this game. And, you know, sure, the backdrops and everything are, you know, pretty varied and interesting to look at. I kind of hate the art style. And I know that sounds weird because the art style and the animation are two completely different things. Like, I like the way it moves. I just hate the way the characters look. I just think they look dumb. And when you look at something like Earthworm Jim, it is very well put together. And this kind of looks like I drew it. It's not great. And my main problem with the actual levels themselves, I mean, it's a fairly basic platformer. Nothing, no frills, nothing, too groundbreaking going on here. But the majority of the time I would take damage is because this game does something really strange, whereby Boogerman, rather than sort of occupying the center of the screen while you're moving, he's sort of in the quarter nearest to the direction that you're going, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You're offset and closer to the edge of the screen as you're moving, which gives you almost no time to react to anything that's coming on screen. I don't know why that is. It's a very weird design choice to not have the screen move with Boogerman when he's centered.
I think
that just really pissed me off.
Yeah, that's part of what I needed to get used to once you're kind of used to that feeling of disorientation as you're kind of moving around, that the game kind of moves differently than what you're used to. That's part of the challenge. It's like one of those things, like once you figure it out, you're good.
Yeah.
Well, there was also, like, you're climbing those snot rockets there that are hanging from the ceiling, like your vines, and the long ones there, you don't climb up it, you just slide down it. You have to jump up it.
Yeah.
Far too often I would jump up it, and I would, miss one, and I'd fall all the way back down to either the beginning of the hanging snot, or I'd have to, land on the ground, and sometimes you had to work your way back up to that level, and it's just, it's...
artificially lengthening the game.
Yeah. They could have done a lot better, and as soon as I found out, again, this is the Earthworm Jim studio, it's just like, why did you guys let the interns draw the levels?
I mean, I will say, there is scope for a lot of exploration. It's not...
Correct.
They're not entirely linear. Sometimes you're left to right, sometimes you're up and down, and you can sort of go off the beaten path to look for... Because there are, plungers and things like that littered around, which when you finish a level will... he'll try and build a ladder out of them, and if you've got enough, you'll get an extra life at the top. Which I didn't really find that I needed, because this game just generally just sets you back from wherever you got your last password from. So It's like, okay, well, I don't really need extra lives. I've got as many continues as I want.
I guess if you were trying to go for it does keep score, such as it is. So I guess if you're someone who wants to, do a not deathless run, but beat the game without game overing and then getting a score, then I suppose. But it's even then at that point, it was kind of a dated concept to do that, right? Because if you're gonna give it's like as a society, or as game developers, they were halfway between saying, you game over and you go all the way back to the beginning, or you game over and you just lose your points. It's who cares? At this point, just give people as many tries as possible to play the game, and they'll enjoy it more.
Yeah.
Oh, we were well into the era of the battery memory save.
And that too.
So,
yep.
Password systems were so last year, and people just would hop into a Nintendo Power or whatever the Megasys used as a magazine, and there would be passwords in there, and you could just skip ahead to whatever level you wanted anyways.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't think they were going to spring for battery powered cartridges for this game.
Not for this
short
of a
spring
game.
for an actual team to build it. Yeah.
I
will say one thing. I'm very, very happy that they're a democracy down in Dimension X-Crement, because you go through that one town level there, and there's a vote for the main villain bad guy posters up there. So it's good to know they are a democracy.
Oh, there you go.
Well,
So
they did fun stuff in the background. I think overall the art style and the kind of the animation of the sprites as they did whatever they were, whether it's Boogerman jumping, his jump is funny. It looks like a ballet prance and stuff like that. It just
definitely frolics.
Yeah, that I don't know, juxtaposition of how kind of dainty he jumps and stuff, and how disgusting he looks is really funny.
He does look disgusting, and like this guy's a millionaire. Like,
right.
Why does his costume look like shit?
That's his alter ego.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, did any of this humor land with you guys? Because nothing in this game made me like laugh out loud.
I mean, it's cheesy,
like
for sure.
The fact that they're, the fact that they're trying to gross me out didn't land with me. The fact that the entire levels were like boogers and poop and garbage and stuff like that didn't land with me. The character himself made no sense to me. It's just, I don't know. I guess they were going for just something where you're not supposed to think that hard, and I think I might have overthought it.
Yeah, you might have.
It's possible. I mean, it definitely grossed me out because, you know, fucking bogeys are disgusting, and this entire game is just covered. Like, every springboard is like a bogey-covered, or a booger-covered trampoline, and as you say, the vines and everything, and it's just literally everywhere, and there are pus-filled spots you can jump on for extra points and shit like that. And it's just the gross out landed with me because it's just like you have to kind of look at this as a product of the 90s. And
I got a question for you.
Go on.
You guys know down in the sewers, right, where you fight all the enemies and stuff like that? Some are a little bit extra brown, some are a little extra green. What about the white one? What do you think he is? He's down the toilet.
Oh, that one one that's like looks like an abominable snowman, kind of.
Yeah, abominable cum man.
He is.
You had to say that while I was taking a swig of drink.
He is the abominable sewer man. Get your head out of the. Get your mind out of the gutter. What are the ghosts? Actually, that's what the ghosts are. Just
ghosts are just farts.
That's true. Like the
ghost of food long gone.
Oh, those little red ones. I didn't know what those were, but they're supposed to be little scabs, which is disgusting.
Yeah, there's like
is that what they
stuff
are
as well? And
yep.
What about the trees that aren't enemies, but they still want to eat your soul?
Yeah, the
one
with the
first
faces,
level there, they have like this, the big smile on them that just like makes you not sleep at night.
Just that stuff.
I don't even remember that.
Oh man, that stuff just tickles me. I don't know. Like I don't. I think I love the art style of this game. I think it's hilarious. Like I know that it's not going to be maybe the most popular choice in 2026, but I just have a lot of nostalgia for it. I know it's a Temu version of, you know, like Ren and Stimpy or something you would have seen on TV, or even Earthworm Jim in its own, you know, interplay made that too, and it really does feel like a B tier, like Earthworm Jim kind of knockoff.
Do you think they were going for like a franchise with this one? Do you think they were hanging a lot of
No, I think this was literally to capitalize on the popularity of the gross out culture, and then if it made money, they probably would have put more money into it, but I don't think anybody ever expected this to be more than just rental fodder.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe.
Interestingly enough, I think there was some marketing behind this at the time, and I only say that because I was at the secondhand bookstore yesterday and I saw but it was behind glass because it's such a valuable piece, right? It was the Boogerman guide. It wasn't terribly long. It just looked like a magazine, like a gaming magazine, but it was quite pricey. I don't think it was quite $200, but it was definitely over $150.
How much are you going to have in there? Like,
I mean, not much.
Oh, God, yeah. Maps of the levels is all you need. You don't even really need to, like, have tips or tricks, because there is no tips or tricks to beat these. You just go from left to right. You follow the arrows, essentially.
Yeah.
All the levels have, like, pointing arrows to show you which direction you need to go. So you know if, you get lost, you just find one of those arrows and then you start following them again.
That's true. I guess if you wanted a map to show you where all the plungers are, and it might tell you how many plungers you need to like actually reach the life, because I think there's more plungers than what you would need, but there is definitely a set amount that you need to collect in the level to get all the way to the free life. Also, there might be some tips and tricks on the bosses and stuff. I don't know. I'm just spitballing at this point.
Yeah.
I did not go find the store clerk and ask them to open it for me so I could look at it.
Can you imagine if it was scratch and sniff?
Oh God! Just like
God,
like the Earthbound.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the enemies. Let's talk about the bosses. I'm gonna let one of you guys go first. Like, what did you think of the bosses?
I mean, they were, for the most part, fine. They were pretty formulaic. I actually, for the most part, they were easier than I thought they would be. Like, I didn't have...
That's because Cuphead prepared you.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
But the thing with Boogerman is, like, for as much as we've said about how relatively easy the platforming is, and, you know, you've got, you know, a variety of attacks. You can burp, and you can fart, and you can, you know, fling boogers, you can whatever. I think the hitbox is a little fucked sometimes. So that...
Oh, God, yeah.
That makes things... it makes the bosses a little bit more difficult. Makes things so that you have to kind of do some very precise... I mean, there are definitely patterns.
Yeah, the second boss, so I literally dropped my controller and she couldn't hit me. Like, I had to
Right.
pick it up in probably a good, like, 3-4 seconds, and she shot those lightning clouds, and they kept missing me, and then she would, like, throw something, it would go over my head, and I didn't find the first few bosses that hard at all.
No, I think there's even one. I think it's Revolta. If you stand all the way to the left or right of the screen, she can't hit you with anything.
That's the one.
Yeah,
that's the one I'm
Yeah.
talking about. That's, like, literally the one that, yeah, I was in the middle-ish, and just dropped the controller because I was getting tired and lazy, and she fires her cloud, which shoots lightning out at it, but only at a specific time, and it would float over my head and then shoot the lightning out and miss me, and then she would throw something, and it would fly over my head, and it was just like, I don't even need to try. I'll just sit here and hit the booger button and throw a booger at her so that she gets hit whenever her hitbox reactivates.
Oh, yeah.
mean,
Which is another...
A couple of them gave me a bit of trouble, but the problem with this is I like that they're all very unique in design, but they're not at all unique in the mechanics, because, I mean, by and large, there's like 5 different bosses?
Yeah.
Like 4 of them are the exact same mechanic. You've got a platform on one side, a platform on the other that you can hop up onto, and...
Yep.
They have their special attacks. You just fling boogers at them, jump over to the other platform, fling boogers at them, and it's the exact same boss mechanic. All right, their projectiles might be slightly different, but with the exception of Flyboy, which, again, was just that kind of left to right, you know, wait until he's open, hit him, and rinse and repeat. You know, it's the same boss fight over and over again, just with a little bit of a tweak.
Yeah, it was
for
kind
whichever boss you're on.
It was kind of funny. By the time I got to Flyboy, I think I beat Flyboy on my first try, and I was like, "Oh man, this one's gonna be tough," because I saw Flyboy and I was like, "Oh shit, this one flies. This is gonna be a pain in the ass."
Yeah. Yeah, but if you just get up in his face and just like
Exactly.
he can't hit you.
Yeah.
He cannot
Yeah,
hit
and that's
you.
that's the thing with all of them is, like, you can easily jump most of their attacks. They're really slow, and then they repeat their patterns so often that, I mean, getting hit was more of an accident than it was, like, enemy difficulty.
Well, you say accident, but I think it goes back to what Sam said, which I completely agree with. It's just it feels like the hitbox drags behind you by about a foot when you are trying to get out of the way, because I was taking hits when I was on the move, and it was just like, there is no way, like, especially for like Deodorant, who would come up from the ground, and I'm just like, there is no way, I'm nowhere near him coming out of the ground, and I'm still taking damage. So
Well, maybe I didn't notice that.
Exactly. I didn't beat Deodorant.
I mean, that was such bullshit.
Yeah.
And again, I don't think it's your fault.
No, it's not. It's the game's fault. 100%.
I'm gonna be on the opposite side, the opposite shoulder, and completely blame Sam for this.
I mean,
You are at fault for this entire game.
I mean, it's not for lack of trying, and luckily, the nice thing about it is this game did have a pretty decent password system.
I love that.
Although, it's fine. Like, but what it is it's a series of 3 pictures that you have to line up that are different enemies in the game. So, like, once you game over, it'll give you the password, and it's like snot goblin, yeti thing, scab, or whatever, and then you have to enter them in that order. I think I would have preferred just like a short alphanumeric password, just because they're easier to write down. Like, how do you write down what, back in these days, like, I mean, the answer is easy now. I just took photos on my phone of what the password was, and then I just went back to it. But like back in the day, you'd have to write down like crusty thing, like snot goblin and I don't know, toilet man.
I had not thought about what it must have been like back in the day. That is a fantastic.
Would have been so
what would
hard.
You do, like sketch them,
right?
Like, draw them,
right? You'd have to like write down what you thought they were, and it's like, whatever.
There you go.
But deodorant, like, just absolutely had my number. For whatever reason, I had a real trouble with one particular attack, and yeah, when the hitbox, like, you have to basically play it perfectly because, like you said, you'd be on the move trying to avoid falling rocks or whatever, and like it would register it as a hit, and it's like, come on, no way, like that,
no way,
close, sure, but not a hit. Let's go, come on.
Yeah, you kind of had to like rewrite your play style to what the game expected rather than what logic dictates,
which isn't
and
great.
While while it is the same sort of boss fight mechanic, they do speed things up the further along you get in the game, add a couple of new wrinkles like the boulders and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And by the time I got to Boogermeister, which is the final boss, like, that guy is moving and throwing out attacks where, like, you have to be throwing out yours and then moving immediately to get over or dodge or... Yeah, it really does become like there's no time to stand still whatsoever.
I mean, I watched a playthrough, and of course it made it look easy, and I thought, like, well, I could probably do this. And while I probably...
Once you've got the timing...
Yeah, well, I probably could if I buckled down and tried hard. It just isn't worth it. Like this, there have been a couple games lately, this is one of them, where I get to a point, I'm like, you know what? Like, I've seen enough, I've played enough, I need to not be stubborn and just put it down, because, like... What is spending another couple hours on, this or that boss in this obscure Sega game gonna do for me? Nothing really. I mean, like, I've already seen enough to talk about it, right?
I could do with taking a leaf out of your book.
It really would have, yeah. Like, at this point, like, not that we're like the oldest dudes ever, but I'm starting to be a little bit more careful with what I waste my time on.
I've always been like that. Like, if a game doesn't bring me joy, I have no problem of putting it away and playing something else. Like, this game did not bring me joy, by the way.
No.
I am a stubborn fool.
I do have that kind of streak where I'm like, but I want to beat it. Like, I don't care that I don't care for it that much. I just, I don't want to let it beat me.
Yeah. You know what's really disappointing about this game is that it didn't even have a good soundtrack. And
Not
again,
really.
I'm going to go back to the Earthworm Jim well. And Earthworm Jim has an amazing soundtrack. In this game, nothing.
I am going to debate that.
No, you're not. And that's the end of the show. Thank you.
Will. I'll hijack this fucking show. I think the soundtrack is actually one of the better parts of the game. I'm not going to lie. And maybe it's not something that I noticed at the time. But I took a little stroll down to the shops today, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to listen to a bit of Boogerman music on the way, and just see, because I just needed a little bit of refreshing, because we played this like a good couple of weeks ago now, and admittedly the Megasys version is the better soundtrack, but the SNES is no slouch either, and it's It was like that meme, like the reels you see when somebody comes up to somebody in the street and it's just like, hey, what are you listening to? And she's like, oh, the Boogerman soundtrack for the SNES. Like, that would have been a tough one to explain. But it actually slaps. There's a lot of gross noises sort of mixed in there, but there's a lot of like good bass and funky tunes, and it's just like, I wonder if the person who made the soundtrack to this game actually knew what the game was he was making it for, because it sounds like he put in a lot more effort than the game warranted. Like, I encourage you, go back and listen to the soundtrack, and you will change your mind.
I think it is.
You wouldn't have noticed it at the time, but
I think it is pretty good.
It is better than it has any right to be. It's very funky, very bass orientated.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the main.
I'll listen to it again, but
Yeah,
I don't remember any of the songs jumping out at me.
That first, like when the title card comes up for that first level, and you hear that like boom, 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 boom. It's like, oh, okay, this is like, yeah, this is very, I don't know, like I have a lot of nostalgia just for the soundtrack. Just feels very, I don't know. Do you ever
squelchy
90s gaming?
Yeah. Do you ever play like Day of the Tentacle too? Like that gives me that kind of. This game gives me that same kind of vibe.
I've been dying to play that game, actually, Day of the Tentacle. It's a LucasArts one, right?
It really, yeah, it is.
Not to go too far off the topic.
Ooh, it's good.
I know Brian's glowering at me right now. I can't see him, I just know he is.
No, I'm actually at the bottom of my list now.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
But, yeah, I like a good point and click. Maybe we should, there we are. One per episode.
There you go. Well, I don't know. We're doing our planning session next After Dark, so...
Yep,
we'll go with that.
We got to add some point and click then.
But before we get into the big wrap-up here and get Alan all tucked away and snuggled for his booger's dreams, any final things to bring up?
I mean, not really.
I mean, it's not the deepest game in the world. You know, it's a fun little curio, and that's about it. I will say, absolutely fuck those exploding bosses all the way to hell and back. Oh, no, do you know what? We didn't actually talk about any of the pickups and collectibles.
Yeah.
Not collectibles, but the power-ups. Yeah. And do you know what I really thought was a fantastic idea? Was the cape.
Yeah.
Which served as Boogerman's like health bar, and I thought that was a really...
once I realized what it was doing, I didn't mind it, but I didn't know it was my health. I thought that fart meter up in the top right was my health.
Yeah, if you don't
Which
know
makes
that
sense, you know, yeah.
If you don't know that the cape is like your health, the hits that you take and when you die really feel arbitrary. And I don't think I got it as a kid. So I was just like, sometimes I get hit and I die, and sometimes I don't.
Yeah. I mean, so for anyone who doesn't, obviously hasn't played the game, like you start off with a red cape, and like I think you can sort of get health ups that will have it flashing, which basically means an extra hit.
Yes.
But then as you get hit, it will cycle down to yellow, and that's basically your warning. Take one more hit, and you're dead, basically. And you will. But I just thought that was a really nice little visual trick to show the health, because there is a lot going on the screen. You've got your booger meter, you've got your belch meter, which I guess also serves basically your gas, because it comes out of both ends, which is quite amusing.
Yeah, if you press down and then the gas or whatever fart or burp button, he just like you can hold it, and then he'll like his butt will get huge or whatever. Like he's really gonna crank one.
That made me chuckle.
I love that, because then there were certain, especially towards the end, it was kind of an easier way to get through some of those levels. If you had enough of the fart gas, you could blow like holes in these boulders that are blocking the way, and you can kind of take this underpath that was a little easier and had some more items in it. But that was,
I didn't know.
It was so fun. Like you could, even in the first level, there's a secret area where there's some boulders blocking your path, and you can just like rip the biggest fart, and it'll blow up the boulders.
My question on that front is: did anyone find the power up to that basically turned those burps and farts into fireballs?
Yes.
Are you talking about the one that can make you like fly up to the next level from farts?
That's a fun one too.
I didn't actually find it. I saw it on a playthrough, because again, I just needed to refresh my memory. And this guy was like burping out fireballs and like farting out fireballs and making short work of the final boss. And I'm just like, well, where the fuck was that? Like, I saw what they're like almost like clouds of bogeys that you can pick up. And what were the other?
There was beans for your gas meter, boogers for your mucus meter. So the milk.
You had milk.
You had milk for the loogie, which is awesome. So it's just like it's like a booger attack, but it flies straight out instead of like an arc, like you're flicking it. And then the chili pepper.
So fucking gross.
So the chili pepper allowed you to do the fart flying, and then it also gave you the fiery burps and farts.
I don't think I ever found that in my entire playthrough.
You didn't? They were around. Yeah, the chili pepper.
I just...
Yeah, you run into them once in a while.
Well, I never remember. That being said, though, I mean, I don't think I used. It's possible that I got it, but I wasn't using the farts and the burps all that much. Like I was a picker and flicker all the way.
Yeah, I found.
Yeah, that's what I used the most.
I found that like if you were to get a power up that took away your flicking ability, then I kind of had trouble with it. Where it was like, okay, now I'm used to flicking the boogers, so I know what to do. Like, I know how to stand.
That's it.
You know, I know how far to stand or how far I can jump and lob one. Like,
because it had that arc, right?
Yep.
You know, and you got used to that, the distance.
And those little bouncing booger enemies were the toughest in the game, I think, because like you could jump on them, but again, the hitbox is a little fucked. So
that
they were hard to land on.
That hitbox was sometimes there and sometimes just I don't know, half a screen away. Like fucking hell, those things are a ball ache.
Yeah, they were by far like the hardest enemy in the game, and like I'm sure they weren't really meant to be because they're all throughout the game. It's just like you wouldn't see one and that would just be bouncing along, or like, you know, you'd have to make like a split-second decision, like, do I try to avoid it or do I try to land on one? And every time if I was like, fuck it, I'll try to jump on it, I'd end up getting hit, and it was like just
yeah, because that again was another. There are quite a few attacks in this game. Like, I don't think we mentioned that you could literally just jump on things' heads, like you said, and that's just like, well, I don't know why I was so sure that was going to like injure me when I did it first time. It's just like, oh no, okay, that's a valid attack as well. Well, it's just like I'm just going to do that half the time. Then
it's kind of interesting when a game gives you, you know, other methods to do like ranged attacks. You know, typically like I wouldn't think to jump on something. I mean, unless you read the manual, it's like, well, you can jump on them or you can do this or that.
Yeah, I didn't. I think I accidentally jumped on an enemy. That's how I knew I could jump on enemies.
I don't think it's the best attack.
For me,
no,
it's good if you like don't want to waste your boogers.
Right.
But most of the time, it was arcing the boogers to higher up enemies because I wanted to jump up to the next platform.
But I think even in like the boss battles, I think the burps and the boogers maybe did a little bit more damage than jumping on the heads. Because like when I was fighting Deodorant, like I would kind of mostly jump on it, but I watched a playthrough, I was like the whoever was playing it was doing burps, and I think they beat him a little faster.
I think so. Well, they do take a little bit longer to charge up, so you'd hope they'd do more damage.
Yeah, right.
That's probably why.
And you have to find
you
have to find items to fill them up. So they got to be your super.
attacks. And Deodorant's attacks when they hit you will reduce. Like one of them is an antihistamine and it takes all your boogers away, and then the other one is like an antacid and it takes all your gas. So it's like, you know, if you get hit with something, there's like there's more effects, like status effects almost, to hit the attack. So that's what I was playing it conservative, because it was like I was trying to avoid everything he was throwing at me and then take a jump on it and then, you know, rinse repeat as you like switch sides. But, you know, I think the little bit more aggressive, you know, trying your best to avoid all the attacks and attacking with your powers such as they are is the better method. It's probably the same for Boogermeister too. Like you said, there was he was burping fire at Boogermeister and like killed it fast or whatever. So I don't know. There's probably something to that.
In seconds, definitely.
So much depth in this game. See, you never even knew.
Yeah, that's it.
We just basically circled the toilet there, talking about all that awesome depth.
You know,
you could jump, or you can hit him with a booger.
Exactly.
You could just scratch the nostril, or you can go knuckle deep and really get involved in this.
Bet you didn't think the strategy was this deep.
All right, so we're gonna wrap this up now because I'm getting hungry and Alan's. It's late where Alan is, and Sam has something to do, I'm sure, in his 1 hour earlier than me time. But Sam, you can go first. You're on a hot streak right now, so you want to wrap it up and give a score?
I had a chili pepper, so I'm burping fire over here. Yeah, I mean, this. I'm glad we went back to this, and I went back to this. You guys played it for the first time, more or less. I'm glad to have gone back to revisit this game, and I have a physical copy for the Genesis that I got a couple years ago, and I bought it for nostalgia purposes, just because I've gone back to pick up a couple games that I remember playing a lot, either as a kid that I had or that I rented at least once. This is one of them. I'm kind of glad I did, because I didn't see very much of this game as a kid because I had a short attention span, and I think it took me a little bit longer to get into a game to the point where I'd get pretty deep into it. So the ones that I remember, going far in are the ones that I actually had in my collection. And if I was renting something, you didn't always get a lot of time with it. So I'm happy that we went back to this. Yeah, I mean, it is at its core a basic, kind of cash grab platformer, gross out humor. Art style is fun. It's more of the same if you like the kind of burps and farts like we like. I mean, it's Ren and Stimpy and Earthworm Jim and everything in its DNA. I didn't think that it was as hard as I thought it would be. Like I just remember, like, I think it's a tough game, and it's really not. It can be tough because the longer that you stick around in a level, the more likely something is gonna hit you, because you do it does reward kind of taking your time, kind of going through and exploring the levels. Obviously, if you collect enough plungers, you can build a ladder and get an extra life. Otherwise, they're not just. I think they're pretty few and far between. There might be a couple spaces throughout the game where you can find an extra one, but that's really the only way to get an additional life. I liked well, especially now, because I could take a picture of them with my phone. I think they would have sucked back in the day, but I liked that there was a password system, that I didn't feel like, I felt like I could see more of the game without having to quote unquote like cheat, spam save states, or not that I would be able to on the Sega, but it was just nice to be able to like skip to the point where I left off. So that's a point in its favor. We did mention, levels are pretty long and can be a little boring. The bosses are fine. They're pretty interesting, just like the design of them are fun. I couldn't get past the second to last boss, and I probably would have had trouble with the last one too. So I'm satisfied with what I played of it. If I'm gonna give it a score, I'll probably give it like I'll give it a 6. It's not a great game by any stretch, but it's also not terrible. Like it's really not the worst. If you're there you could do much worse if you're finding kind of a basic platformer at the time.
Yeah, okay, so that makes a lot of sense. 6 is a good score, but not a great score. I like it. So 6 from Sam. And Alan, how about you take us to the next level? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with a lot of what Sam said there, especially, the phrase basic platformer, because it is, this is an incredibly basic platformer. It waves at a sort of broken platformer, but it's not all the way there. It is playable. It has a few quirks to it that you have to get used to, and I don't think they're by design. I think they're by omission. The hitboxes we've talked about, just the position on the screen and your inability to see what's coming. As I say, I always remember this game from back in the day, and it's not one that I sought out to play. I mean, it looked funny at the time, which was obviously where we were in the 90s. That gross out humor was it was all pervasive. Everything, like you said, your Ren and Stimpy's, Earthworm Jim's, Rocco's Modern Life, all of that stuff, it all had that sort of gross out sort of humor to it. And, does it land these days? Maybe not so much, but I mean, this game is a curiosity piece. I mean, it very much is a bog standard platformer that is propped up by its quirkiness, if that makes sense. It goes all in unashamedly on that just absolutely disgusting aesthetic. And yeah, while I don't love the art style necessarily, I can appreciate that really what they were trying to do is just not make... They were not trying to make a clever game. They just wanted to make something that might give you a chuckle and was just fucking gross. Music's great. I really enjoyed the music on this. Again, I didn't really notice it at the time, but I mean, just gameplay-wise, there's variation in your abilities to attack, but there's not a lot of variations beyond that. Enemies and bosses are all kind of formulaic, and you beat one, you beat them all. That being said, I didn't hate playing it. I probably wouldn't have ever picked it up if not for the podcast here. But now that I've played it and seen what it's all about, it's just like, yeah, you know what, that was a fun little diversion for a little bit. I don't know how available it is to play these days, but you can probably emulate it easy enough. And if you're just up for something dumb and nostalgic, it's there are worse things that you could pick up. You know what? There's not a lot of variation in this game, and there's not going to be a lot of variation in my score. I think I'm going to agree with Sam. I'm going to give it a 6 as well.
Oh, 2 6s. We're going for the Devil's Three-Way, are we?
Let's do it. Brian's not giving this game a 6.
No, I don't think I am. I think I'm going to break it. It's a shame it's not a good game, because I could at least have given it a 9, but we can't do that because it's my turn to wrap it up. Alan gave a 6, Sam gave a 6. What do I feel about this game? Well, not much. I've known about this game since the 90s, since it was on the shelf of every rental store, and I remember seeing the cover all the time, but nothing about this game made me run and grab it. It's always just been gross humor to me, and I guess that's fine. Like, during that time, that was fine. That was what was in. Gross humor was the big thing, and Sam mentioned it, Ren and Stimpy. I loved Ren and Stimpy, and it was just the same type of gross humor that this game portrays. And playing it now in 2026, I don't think the gimmick really carries the game, and the gameplay is not strong enough to make it a great game. So neither of those, if you're not nostalgic for this game, are really going to make it special. So it really was a novelty act back in the day, and it still is today, and people who have fond memories of the game probably have it for the reason of the grossness of the game. It doesn't stack up very well against some of the platformers that came out on the Super Nintendo, so there's a reason why this one was never taken on the rental store. It's because there are better games. Like Earthworm Jim is a better game than this, and it's made by the same company, so if I had to recommend it, I'd just tell people to go play Earthworm Jim instead. The levels were long, or some were way too short. I finished some levels in under a minute, and other levels I had to circle the level a few times to figure out where I was going. The enemies are okay. I've never found like any really big challenge. You flick boogers at them, you're good to go. Some enemies take more than one hits, but not very often. The bosses, yeah, there was some challenge, like the ant guy. There was some challenges there, but I didn't notice the hitbox thing you guys were talking about, so maybe I just was lucked out and I never got like dicked over that way. So it was a mild challenge. I didn't finish the game. I didn't even want to take on the final boss. I just kind of stopped at that point. I do like the graphics. The animations of the Boogerman himself and the characters are kind of... I really like the amount of effort that was put into that. You can see where the Earthworm Jim influence was. I didn't notice the music being good, but maybe I was playing with the volume down too quiet or something like that. I'm going to listen to the soundtrack again, so I'm not going to ding any points on the music until I give it its fair shake. Which it deserves, because, yeah, there is some nostalgia behind this game. As for the humor working in 2026, no. Maybe I've grown, or maybe I've moved away from that type of gross humor, but for me it just doesn't land that well. Playing it for the first time in 2026, this could have been great 90s humor, but for me, I have no nostalgia for it, so that's where I'm going to land on that one. It's also a game I'm never going to play again, so this is not something I'm going to casually pick up to play just to figure out anymore. It's a one and done for me, so I've played it, and I probably will never play it again. So I don't even see any value in the replayability of this game, and I guess my final verdict is simply going to be that Boogerman it's a game to play if you really have nothing else to play and you're just kind of curious about it. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10.
So it's not going to be a 6. It's just going to be a middle of the pack game, because that's what it is. It's not even bad enough to hate it, but it's not good enough to like it.
All right, yeah, that's fair.
That's not unreasonable. Although I will point
Whether
out
I call this a pick or a flick, I'm just going to say it's staying in the cave.
I like the way that Brian said he's moved away from that kind of humor when he was literally the guy who pointed out the cum monster.
Well, that's
no. Actually, I like the way this game is not hitting me with its humor after that whole fart clip I did a few episodes
right.
Yeah, you've matured.
Like this
Brian,
this is why I said like there's a lot of hypocrisy in this. It's like I do my own stuff like that, and then I look at this game like, ugh, fuck, this is gross.
Yeah, like
it's like I'm conflicted because I don't want to hate the game for this thing that I'm doing myself, but at the same time, it's just not landing with me.
Who would find
too
that
on
funny?
The nose.
Yeah, right.
It's so on the nose that it's up the nose, and boy, Boogerman, he really needs to get those sinuses checked out because there's a lot of bogeys up there. Do you know what I just found out that's quite interesting?
What?
Is that he actually makes a reappearance in Clay Fighters 63 and a third, and he's apparently the rival of Earthworm Jim.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I saw that as well when I was reading the wikis.
That'd be a fun game to pick up if I could find it.
Are we done recording, or are we still going?
We're still going. We ain't done yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay.
There was a bit of a pause.
Such a great outro there.
Yeah, but guess what?
Yeah.
Just rearrange it later.
It's just such a great outro there that I was like, oh my god, he just nailed it on a good note. And then he comes back with this Clay Fighters.
I didn't even realize.
God, now people are going to be like, these guys don't know what they're doing. This is gross.
Well, we don't.
Well, they're absolutely right.
But on that note, I think it is time to wrap it up because my wife is cooking fries and the smell is now enveloped my entire head, and I have not had anything to eat since this morning. So, boys, once again, thank you for another great episode. Always love talking to you guys about gross stuff.
Oh, yeah.
What do we got coming up next? I have no idea.
That would be...
it's Wind Waker.
I think it's True Lies next.
True Lies.
Oh, it is True Lies. Yeah.
Finally.
Oh, thank God.
Finally getting around to True Lies.
Yeah, okay, so we got True Lies coming up next. Alan, do you have a better outro than your last one, or are we just going to cut, like, Sopranos and just end the episode?
Hi there, everyone. We here at Retrotopia couldn't do what we do without the support of our Patreons. And to that effect, we would like to shout out the heroes at our hero tier. So a huge Retrotopia thank you from all of the hosts here to Guy Who Does Things, Joe Frigger, Shadowblaze511, Dan Torma, Brian Heng, Sharkbite, Brian Spritzer, Ovindley, Shane's World, Brother Retro, H, Raging Demon, Old Man Gamer, Game Genius, Dylan Jacobson, The Big Deal, Mr. Blobbert Blobbertstein, King Hooley III, Calin Higas, Radmac, Fallen Snow Kiku, Stud Still Smash, Sergeant Ombre, Big Brown Dog, Jack Datchler, Unbuckled Cape, Wildcard, Super Dave, Sir Busts-a-Lot, Big Kid 782, David Hendley, Chris Kaplane, J Nasty 15, Because 19, Randy Berridge, Makeshift Money, and Andrew Wright. So thanks as always for your support, guys. It truly means the world to us and means we can keep doing this little thing that we love so much. Game on.